In today's episode, we hear from 3 Year 13 pupils studying biology. They're also in the Biomedical Society, so we find out about that too. But we don't just talk to them, we also hear from the subject lead for biology, James Whitehead. Let's get into it.
Welcome to Mount Kelly Conversations, the podcast from Mount Kelly in Devon. In each episode, we have conversations with pupils, with staff, and with other people in the school community to find out more about life at the school. Come with us now as we get right into this episode.
So very excited for today's episode. We have 3 of our Year 13 pupils in school, but we also have James Whitehead, subject lead for biology. James, hello, how are you?
Hello, yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, how are you?
Very good indeed, thanks. Very, very good. I'm really looking forward to talking to the 3 pupils that we have sat right next to you right now. But first of all, just tell us, subject lead for biology, tell us a little bit about biology at Mount Kelly. What does that actually look like there?
So in the college, we cover the AQA GCSE biology, and then we go on to AQA A-level, and we have a really heavy emphasis on practical work, try and make the lessons ideally as engaging and true to life as possible, trying to draw in as many examples of things from outside of the world and sort of outside world context into lessons. And then we also sort of supplant that with the Biomedical Society and to sort of enrich people's experience of biology at school and try and explore different careers and things like that. So I think we'll probably end up talking about that a little bit today.
No, I'm sure that we will. James, I must ask you though, what was it about biology that attracted you in the first place?
For one, I wasn't really rubbish at it, so that's always nice. And I suppose for me, the part of biology that I'm always most excited about is genetics. And in genetics, you're able to answer so many questions about how and why we are the way that we are. And with biology and genetics, there's still so much left to discover, so much newness. Recent fields like epigenetics, where there's so many advances, ties to the microbiome and all the sort of our understanding of the role and interaction between our genes and our environment are just absolutely fascinating. So yeah, it's always been something that I've been very passionate about from a reasonably young age.
Very, very good. And then next to you, of course, we've got 3 pupils. But James, before you pass the mic across to them, tell us what it is about these girls that brings them onto the podcast. What's in common with each of them?
So all 3 of them do A-level biology. They are in the Biomedical Society as well. And they're in Year 13 and have all gone through in the last year the UCAS process. So they've all applied to university and have gone through all sorts of journeys, decisions, then changes in direction, changes back to their original tact. And what's been really nice is sort of working with them. I've written all of their references and helped them with their personal statements and work with them through that process to hopefully reach a point where they have a broad idea as to where they want to go. But also I would say there might still be some changes, which is quite exciting. They're at this wonderful point in life where there's so much in front of them and they're all incredibly bright. They have really high aspirations. And so I think hopefully you'll get a sense of what amazing things await them in the future, even if they're not entirely sure what that might be. All 3 of them have secured fantastic offers from universities at this point, which is wonderful.
Very exciting time for them. Very exciting time for us on the podcast listening, because we're about to speak to each of them. James, I feel like you've warmed up the stage. Let's talk to Morgan first of all. Morgan, straight up first of all, I understand you're head girl. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. Okay, great. And you've also been at Mount Kelly for a long time. Tell us about how old you were when you first joined Mount Kelly.
So I was in Year 4. I can't actually think of what age that is. I currently track my age with the school years. But yes, my sister joined in Year 6. So we were together for 2 years before she went to the college. And it was, I don't know, I had so much fun. I've been a boarder since Year 4 to Year 11. So I've experienced both boarding and day pupil aspects of Mount Kelly, which I think is really fun.
Very good. Very, very good indeed. And tell us what it is about biology that you find so interesting.
I've always struggled with essay type subjects, I think. I think about it a bit too much. And I really enjoy with biology and maths type subjects where it's sort of instant feedback. You have to think about the question a lot, but you're applying knowledge and you sort of know, yes, you're correct or not. And that's something that I think is really helpful for me. And
of course, Mr. Whitehead was just talking about what each of you might be doing this time next year. What at the moment, what are your plans for this time next year?
I've got an offer for medicine at Bangor University in North Wales. So this time next year, I hope to be doing that and taking breaks, walking up Snowdon and sailing and stuff. Yeah.
Very good, very good. It'd be great to understand a little bit more about that. Maybe this time next year, actually, you could come back on the podcast and give us an update as to how your life is looking. Who knows?
Of course, yeah.
Now, of course, next to you, we've got Christina as well. And Christina, you haven't been at Mount Kelly for such a long time. When did you join the school?
I joined for year 12, coming from Germany.
Okay.
Which is a really different school system, and the switch of a language to a language that's not my first language. So it's been an experience.
I'm sure it has. Now, tell me a little bit then about what it was like for you joining in year 12. I imagine that there were already a lot of friendship groups and different circles of friendships going on throughout the school. But, how quick were you to make friends with new people who you'd never met before?
It wasn't that hard because there's quite a lot of new year 12 pupils every year that just joined Mount Kelly for A-levels. So I found friends quite quickly amongst the other new pupils who were also looking for new friends, especially in my classes where it's easiest to meet new people.
No, that's really good to hear. Now, tell us, I'm dying to know, are there any particular fields within biomedicine that interest you, such as, I don't know, Mr. Whitehead mentioned genetics or something like neuroscience or anything else?
I'm very interested in genetics, definitely. And I think Mr. Whitehead was the one who sparked the interest in the first place. And then it just went from there.
Fantastic. Okay, we're going to pick that up with Mr. Whitehead in a moment then. So James, just be prepared for that. But tell me a little bit about what it is about genetics that appeals to you.
I don't really know exactly what. It's just fascinating and a field that has so much left to explore. Like there's other fields that feel like we've explored a lot of it already and we know a lot about it. And genetics just feels like there's still so much left to explore. And there's so much we don't know. And there's so much good it could do if we learn about it in research as well.
So much that we found out already, but so much yet to explore. Let's jump back to Mr. Whitehead, because I just want to pick up on that very, very briefly. James, great to hear Christina talking about this. It feels like you're the source of inspiration for her interest in genetics. How does that feel for you?
Yeah, really, really, really great. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Christina.
I mean, I imagine that actually when you were young, more seriously, you were probably inspired yourself, I don't know, actually, by a teacher. Because quite often if a teacher is teaching something in a school, it's because they have a passion for it. And often that passion comes from their own education that they received. But tell us about how it feels for you, genuinely, to be a source of inspiration for the pupils at Mount Kelly.
Feels really amazing. I mean, I can only put it into context of, you mentioned a teacher that inspired me at school, and it was a teacher called Mr. Stone, who I remember from when I was in year 7 he taught me from year 7 to year 13. And in year 7, the sort of teacher who'd get up on the tables and describe the whole room as maybe being, if we were learning about reproduction, he'd be like, the room is the uterus and the door is the vagina. And he'd be making all of these, and we would all be giggling as the girls are next to me. And maybe you'd be going, oh, it's okay to say this, but it was amazing, and it brought it all to life. And then that sort of enthusiasm stuck with me and probably was the thing that really sparked my interest in biology more than anything else at that young age. And if I'm definitely not Mr. Stone, but occasionally I get quite interested and quite passionate about what I'm talking about, especially when it's genetics. So it's nice that Christina's picked up on that.
Oh, very good indeed. Very good. It was great to hear that from you. It's great to hear that from Christina as well. But let's jump across to Jasmine. Jasmine, you also joined the school, not from a different country, but you did join from a different school, I believe. Just tell us a little bit about that.
I came from Essex. I used to go to a grammar school where the classes were much bigger, and now they're quite small, like a third of the size, I believe.
And which year group were you in when you joined Mount Kelly?
Year 12.
Okay, so just like Christina in that case. Did you find it easy enough to make friends, just like she did?
Yeah, I did, actually. Most people take the same subjects as me, so I just go around and follow them through the school day. It's quite nice to see them a lot during the day, which helped me, and also Biomedical Society. Most of my friends are in there, so I spend a lot of time with them.
Okay, that's really good to hear. Tell us a bit more then about the Biomedical Society. What actually happens within that?
So it's partially student-led, so we decide what we want to do. We bring in speakers such as people in the medical field, like surgeons. Oh, we had a vet come in. We had a physio as well. So the students bring in people, they email from externally, and then they come in on Mondays, and then we have a group meeting with them.
Oh, very good indeed. Very good. And Christina mentioned that she's interested in genetics. If I asked you the same question, would it be genetics as well, or would it be something else?
I'm quite interested in medicine, so the human anatomy really interests me. I went on a work experience last June, and I think that furthered my interest as well because I got to see some surgeries in person, and then I got to see the body up close, which was really interesting.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay, and then this time next year, what are you hoping to be doing?
So I've applied for biomedical science at the moment, a few universities in the UK, but I'm contemplating switching to medicine at the moment, so I'm not too sure.
Oh, okay. And which is your first choice university?
Bristol or King's College London.
Okay, all right. Well, best of luck to you,
Thank you
for that. And actually, let's jump back to Christina, because Christina, I didn't ask you what you're planning on doing next year. Tell us a little bit about that. Are you heading back to Germany, staying in the UK, going somewhere else?
I have offers from the UK, so I went through all the UCAS and as an international student. I have an offer from Edinburgh and one from UCL, which I would really like to go to, but I don't know if it will work out yet because it's obviously quite expensive to study in the UK as an international. So I might take a gap year and study somewhere else in the world.
Okay, all right. Excellent. Well, best of luck to you for that, whatever it is that you end up doing. Let's jump back to Mr. Whitehead for a second. James, there's one thing I'd love to ask you regarding, now, by the way, I love these podcast recordings because you have no idea about this question I'm about to ask you. There's often a debate, isn't there, I believe at least, regarding, between ethics and biomedical advancements. I'd love to know how you feel we should be balancing innovation with, ethical responsibility.
I suppose it's about what does the most good. And I was only listening to a podcast this morning about making mirror molecules, which are molecules that basically have sort of the if you imagine molecules being like right-handed or left-handed, it's say proteins being right-handed. You could make a left-handed protein, and it could be used in amazing ways for treating different diseases because it could sort of intercept different molecules and things like that. And then scientists sort of thought, well, could we explore creating an organism with mirror molecules, a whole cell? And they started to push forward with research with that. And then the same scientists that pushed forward with that research said, wait a minute, this actually might be really bad. We could create organisms that spread awful disease and it could do a lot more damage to ecosystems. And so they stopped the research then and then. And these scientists who'd done many years of research were sort of saying, we probably shouldn't have, or we shouldn't go any further with it. We found out what we wanted to. We want to still explore with the mirror molecules, but we definitely don't suggest doing any more research into mirror cells. I suppose that's sort of a contextual answer for you. It's about pushing forward, the boundaries of science, always with the aim of doing good and never, causing harm where possible.
That kind of reminds me about a group of scientists one time, I think it was at Reading University a few years ago, where they were carrying out an experiment which could, in theory, a very slim chance, it could in theory generate a black hole. I can't remember exactly what they were doing, but there's a very slim chance of it happening. But had it actually done what they thought it could do as a slim possibility, then it would have created a black hole which would have swallowed up the entire planet.
Which would be bad.
Yeah, they would be bad. Of course, they wouldn't be in a position to be prosecuted for that because we'd all be going down with them. But really interesting to hear how that balance happens between the two. Okay, let's jump back to our pupils for a second. Morgan, I'd love to understand, you mentioned earlier on about being head girl. How do you feel being head girl? Sorry, this has nothing at all to do with science or biology or biomedical science, but tell us a bit about how you feel that's going to help you in life, having been head girl or being head girl right now.
To be truthful, I'm not too interested in about how much it's going to help me. I've spent so long at this school and I feel like it's given me so many qualities. I'm very independent because of my experience boarding and how supportive teachers are and stuff, that I've been given so many opportunities. I just want to give back. So yeah, I've not really thought about how much it might help me. I know I've been given the opportunity to do a leadership course, which I've completed. So that was with other head of students across the country, which is quite helpful, learning how to approach different situations.
Morgan, it's an admirable answer, that really is. I love the way you turn it around immediately and make it all about other people and not about yourself.
I should say that is Morgan in her truest essence. And a big challenge for Morgan broadly is learning how to say no to things and to almost to stop doing so many wonderful things for the school, so that she can actually look after herself and forward her own sort of, career aspirations and things like that. So you got a really true sense of what Morgan's like there.
Fantastic. Well, it's really good to hear that. Thank you for that, James. Morgan, let's take it back to you for a second. If you could, let's take it back to biomedical science as well. If you could make one breakthrough in biomedical science in your lifetime, so this could be any time over the next 50, 60 years, what would it be?
I think whilst it may not be like what most people would go for, I'm quite passionate about women's health. And I know that endometriosis and like abnormal period pains and such affect so many women, and women are like half the population. So I would probably want to do something for that, because currently there's not really any completely known cause for endometriosis, and the only cure is sort of a hysterectomy, which, that's ruins a lot of women's plans for pregnancy and such. So I think that's what I would be aiming for. Yeah.
Okay, Morgan, it's really good to hear that. Christina and Jasmine may well have picked up on the fact that I'm going to be asking them a similar question. Christina, let's jump to you first of all. What would you say in answer to the same question? What breakthrough would you like to be involved in?
I don't know. It's a very good question. I would probably answer something around genetics, maybe related to cancer, but I haven't really put much thought into that.
Yeah, no, well, I am putting you on the spot here a little bit. If there was any particular cancer that you'd love to, get shot of completely, I mean, clearly all of them would be good, but are there any cancers which, would particularly mean anything to you to see the back of?
I've had family members pass away due to cancer, but I would probably still go for brain cancer, because we actually had a talk with a neurosurgeon earlier this week who spoke to us quite a lot about brain tumors and brain cancer. And that just sounds like an awful way to have to live with something like that. And yeah, that would be a great thing to discover how to cure that.
Good answer there, Christina. Thank you for that. Jasmine, how about you? One breakthrough? You're not allowed to use any of the ones that the other two have mentioned. What would you say?
Oh, I was going to say cancer, but now I have to think.
You do, because Christina's gone there already. What would you say instead then?
I mean, research takes quite a long time. I mean, we heard the other day from a neuroscientist about putting 10 years work into something and you might not even see the outcome. But I think if I could be involved in any research to do with cancer or something else in the medical field and help someone else in the field to improve on that, I think that'd be good.
Okay, equally a great answer. Thank you very much for that, Jasmine. Let's jump back to Mr. Whitehead again, because it's always good to come back to our teacher in the room. James, great answers there from the girls. It's really good to hear what they're talking about there. One last question for you, because I'm keeping an eye on time here. What advice would you have for any students who are considering biomedical science at university right now, or considering studying it for A-level? Maybe they're in year 11 or something right now, and they're wondering what to do in year 12, year 13. What advice would you give to them?
Follow their interests and explore. I mean, if they do, they obviously have to choose the right subject. So if they're looking to do medicine or biochemistry, then they obviously have to do biology and chemistry, and they'll make those sorts of decisions. But then I suppose what will stand candidates apart from others will be those who've gone and looked beyond the parameters of the syllabus to explore outside their A-levels. And what these girls have done that's so fantastic, and so much of it is not at all my influence. It's their own sort of interest and their own passions is gone away and read and explored and carried out work experience, listened to podcasts, etc., so that they have different ideas. And a phrase I sometimes use is that you are if you're interested, you are interesting, and so it really pays to explore outside the syllabus and find those little bits that sort of ignite your passion. Because then when you come into an interview and you're asked a question and you're put on the spot, you've got something to talk about, and you seem like someone who knows what they're talking about, because it is something you're interested in. You're on your home turf, as it is.
No, I love that. I really do. And I also love the way that you've mentioned the word curiosity at least twice on this podcast recording. So it's been great talking to you today, James. Thank you so much for your time. It's been very, very good talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And of course, to Morgan, thank you for being here today.
No worries. My pleasure. Thank you.
Christina, great to hear from you as well. Thank you for giving up the time.
Thank you.
And Jasmine, thank you for being here. I appreciate you giving up your time.
Thank you.
And of course, I feel like, James, we should also be giving a little shout out to Mr. Stone, going back to your schooling days. So
He's an absolute legend.
if he's ever listening, then a big shout out to him. All of you, thank you so much for your time. It's been great talking to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.